Alrighty, here we go. Decided to get some quick footage here before I drop it back down again, so we'll crawl under here. I'll show you the transmission crossmember that I made. It's just a straight piece of pipe right there and two pieces of 1/4 inch like plate stock type stuff. And then these are really nice. These came out awesome. These were what I previously had up here for the transmission crossmember to bolt into. And the way they work is there's just a single through bolt that comes out over here on the other side of the frame rail. So just drilled and moved these back to be in line with the transmission here, and put the corresponding one on the other side. Same deal to fit. So these are just boxes made just wide enough to fit the eye through here, and then a big thick nut and bolt. So that's transmissions in here. Got the shifter cable ran, tucked it through some holes here, and got that set up to where it needs to be. Came home from work, and my dad must be excited to see this thing ready, because he had the drive shaft in before I even got home from work. So here it is in. This was from Southwest Speed, as you can see by the giant Southwest Speed sticker. It's a 2.5 inch steel drive shaft with, I got the 1350 yoke, or 1350 U-joint is what this yoke takes, and then the drive shaft is the 1310. So these are adapter U-joints for 1310 to 1350. And then the back one is just the standard 1310 on both sides, the pinion yoke and the drive shaft here. And then these are the factory 12 millimeter bolts. I still have to make a drive shaft loop to put in here. We'll see how white this stays. So I figured I'd get a quick video before I put it down, and it's a pain to get back under it. I do have to, when I put it down, I'm going to change the tires here from these dry rotted ones. I have other ones to put on. But I have to fix, it is really rotten under here too. I'm going to have to fix this brake line right here. Actually ruptured when I pulled out the old exhaust system that came up over right here. That's the one that goes out over here. So I'm going to drop the rear down, leave the body up on jacks here in the back, let the rear relax, and then the junction block up here for this line, I'll take it loose there, and then I'll bend up a fresh line all the way out. So I gotta get that done, and then I'll splice in the other video here of it moving. Well, it's been a few days since the last video, and got everything under the car done, and that's the previous section of the video you just watched. Got it put back down and finished up everything. It's now running and driving. As I say in all my videos, it still needs fuel injectors, obviously, so I can't really get into it too much yet. Hopefully I'll run across some injectors here sometime soon and throw a proper tune in it, and then start to work out the bugs and whatnot. So since it was put back down, it needed stupid little stuff like a transmission cooler hung, and the oil transmission dipstick to be put up. So it's just a little thing. So made a bracket out of aluminum. After work one night, I just bolted, well, screwed into the inner fender well here, and it goes down under. This vacuum line here is hooked up. There's this T and a one-way valve thing here. This goes down to the vacuum modulator on the transmission, so it shifts when it's below 40 miles per hour. And then this is teed into, and then this is my source for Mega Squirt for vacuum.
I don't know if I'm going to keep this teed or if I'll leave one dedicated line to the Mega Squirt box and tee this somewhere else. Got a T fitting from American Speed here for my temperature sensor, since I'm using a mechanical one. I'll probably upgrade to an electrical one. This one's just here because it's what I had. It's kind of like the whole car. And I had to, okay, my cooling system was completely screwed up, and I will show you why and how to fix that. Previously, I had this steam vent tube coming out over here. The other one's connected over there, up to here, over to this one, and then this was coming out and coming into here. Wrong for an LS motor. They're a closed system, so, and this is hot, this is coming out hot, so this needs to get cooled. So what you need to do is run this over here and into the T-fitting in your upper radiator hose. So I put a little brass fitting in here and ran the steam vent tube in, and then that comes over. This is a factory Mustang radiator with the factory overflow pipe, hose, whatever you want to call it here. And then I still use the Volvo tank. Now, how this works is, I just have water in it for the moment. This is hooked up, and then this over here is acting as my vent, because this is a pressure cap. So we have a pressure cap and a pressure cap, but what we need is a pressure cap and a vent, or a vented cap. Well, I didn't have one, so this just vents. This is just going out into the zip tied in the inner fender well to puke coolant if it's going to. I ended up buying another alternator because the Corvette one I had wasn't right for the bracket. The bracket was initially measured from the videos and everything I watched. The 1.5-inch measurement for the spacers and the alternator bracket was for the use with the truck alternator. So I don't know if you can see in the other videos previously, but this spacing, the way this has the bulge like back here and the skinnier part up here, is reverse of what the Corvette was, and the offset was different. And I started doing some grinding and spacing and using washers and stuff on the alternator on this section to try and get this pulley in line with the crank pulley and the water pump pulley, and it was just being a pain in the ass. So I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go spend the money. There was a Labor Day sale at Advance Auto. It's like 20% off, or no, there was a $40 if you spend $110 or more or something. So I got a brand new alternator and a discount code along with that for, I think it was 80 bucks or 75 bucks, and it's the good one, I think. That's what I was told. I don't know. So I still need to pick up, this is now this is a 4-pin connector. So I'm going to grab one of these, and then I just need the field wire again to jump to the hot side here. But that lines up right now. So, and I also deleted my idler pulley because that's wrong. That's the wrong idler pulley for the Corvette bracket down there. So I don't know what I'm going to do there yet. I'm going to see if I'm going to run into issues with the belt slipping on the crank pulley because of the limited amount of wrap I have on it, but we'll find out. Let's see if we can check out the oil cooler. I have a bunch of 40, 43, or 60, 61 aluminum that I was using to practice when I started TIG welding, and it works great to make bracketry. So right there you can see I made a little bracket that holds the transmission oil cooler, and that's held in, bolted into the inner fender well, and then the lines run down here and down this way towards the lines that are coming out right, what can we see? Right there. I'll zoom out so you can kind of see, so you have frame of reference. And they shoot back, and that's where they go down under. So that's that, and then got a seat, a passenger seat. Figured the person that rides with me should ride comfortably. They don't have to ride in a plastic jazz seat. So this was a seat, I guess it's like a $10 seat or $15 seat out of the junkyard. Went in, just went searching for the nicest black leather pleather seat I could find that had some nice decent bolsters on it. So these seats, or this seat, came out of, my guess would be it was like an '05 Mazda. I don't even know what it came out of. I just walked around and sat in a bunch until I found one I liked. But it came out great. Sits right where it needs to. And used, as usual, bed frames to make this. We aren't going to be able to see much of anything. I used the factory Mustang rails again, bolted those to the floor, and then measured the span. So we have the gap between the seat rails, measured the span of what the seat needed on the bottom, because the seat tracks on the seat are wider than the narrow part, or the narrow Mustang rails. So I had to make longer pieces that spanned equally, overhang on both sides, and then welded that together on the floor and pulled it out, and then squared it up and welded the overhang sections that were sticking out on either side. They caught the rails of the factory seat, or the factory metal mounting points. Got my gauges put in a little better. They're actually somewhat mounted-ish. I have to do a bunch of messing around with wiring yet. I have these I'm going to put up. I might use elastic or something to strap them up like this, so that the front lights, or the blinking lights, I can actually see, so I can, for any troubleshooting or anything like that, I can try and figure out. So that's that. Gotta get it up to my brother's now that it drives, to weld the cage, and then once the cage is in its final resting location, I can remount my battery within the tray there I made. Hopefully the next video I'll have some footage of it running and driving. You can hear it. It shifts real great, shifts nice. You can definitely tell it's got a shift kit in it. But again, I can't really lay into it too much until I get the bigger injectors for it. So, until next time.